Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Decoding with Cody, and today we have a star-studded cast of decoders ready to break down the events of today, September 28th, 2025. And as most of you guys know, we've already had a busy month talking about Charlie Kirk. And again, just to introduce the two brothers I got with me, AJ and Derek from Gematronnator. How you guys doing?
What's up, Cody? How we doing,
What's
man?
up? We're doing good.
Thanks for having me,
Nice
brother.
to have you guys back. We did a stream together. Was it like a week and a half ago? So this is our second one. And yeah, so everyone who's in the chat, thanks for coming along. And we're gonna again try to get right into this because don't want to make the stream too long tonight. It's a bit late, but we'll go over all the stuff that happened. So please hit the likes if you're just getting in as well. And I'm assuming you guys can all hear us. If someone cannot hear us, please let us know in the chat. So you guys know that all week we've been talking, or not all week, probably the last, 3 weeks, we've been talking about Charlie Kirk. But the last week or so, we've been talking about Charlie Kirk in connection to the movie Snake Eyes. And most of the internet has seen that connection by now. And what if I told you guys that this Mormon church fire and shooting today is the most perfect connection to the movie Snake Eyes, or as perfect as you can probably get it, and it connects, of course, to Charlie Kirk as well. But the news is that there was a school shooting and fire, which is why I had AJ leave up the comment from Mr. S there that says, "You have no idea the fire you have ignited." That is a quote from Erica Kirk. And that was the speech she gave right after her husband died. And I highlighted this speech in one of my videos where I showed the connection to Erica Kirk, the fires, and Charlie from the movie Firestarter, which is a movie/book from Stephen King. And remember, the memorial in Arizona was held on Stephen King's birthday. And again, now we have a Mormon church. And again, he died in Utah, which of course is where the Mormons are. And Derek did a whole video on how it was connected to the Mormon church right next to the shooting. And then it just seems so logical that a couple weeks later we get a Mormon church story. I mean, when's the last time we've seen a Mormon story at all in the news? I don't remember one in my 4 years of decoding a Mormon story. So other than the Charlie Kirk one. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. But let's get right into the first thing I want to lead off with, and then we're going to get more into the numbers with Derek. But so you guys know that the other day when we first found the Snake Eyes thing, we were talking about how it was connected to, you guys know all the connections with Snake Eyes, how the guy gets shot in the movie just like Charlie Kirk. It's with Tyler's in the ring who takes the fall. Well, what if I told you that today this Mormon church fire just happens to fall on the birthday of the actor who plays Charles Kirkland in Snake Eyes? So just let that sink in for a second. Just that by itself is crazy, considering what we've been talking about all week. So this guy, Joel Fabiani, he, again, played Charles Kirkland, and his birthday is September 28th, today, and he would turn 89. And I know Derek's going to mention this, but in standard gematria, kill equals 89. And so what are the absolute odds that this guy, his birthday's today? And look how old he is. He's 89 years old. He's pretty old. He lived a long life, but he lived enough long of a life to be alive for this. And just to skip towards the end to bring all this together, to go with the Kirkland thing. So yesterday in Donut's stream, remember the guy whose birthday is today, he played Charles Kirkland, not Kirk, but Kirkland. And this is something Derek's going to talk about more with the numbers, but I really want to highlight this because I was talking about this yesterday in Donut Stream, this very case. I was talking about it. And lo and behold, this lawsuit was filed Leslie versus George Soros, but it also involved Donald Trump and Kirkland and Ellis. And you guys won't believe the date it was filed on. September 10th. Of all days, this date, how many times have we brought this date up the last week? So this lawsuit from Leslie versus Soros, Trump, and Kirkland and Ellis was filed on September 10th. And as we're going to get into, this is the birthday again of Charles Kirkland, the character. And as we're going to get more into in a second, the new president, because yesterday we had the death of the former president of the Mormon Church. And today, this guy is the new president right now. And he worked at Kirkland and Ellis, which was the exact, again, I brought this up yesterday, not knowing that this was going to manifest today. And I was like, wow, are you kidding me? I literally highlighted this. And I was looking at this 3 or 4 days ago. And it just all seemed to fit perfectly because the new Mormon church guy literally worked at that law firm. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw that next to this church that burned down today, there was a law firm. I had read that there was actually a law firm very close to the church, once again pointing to this law firm connection. And Derek's going to take over now and talk about the numbers and how it connects to all these things like Chicago and the skull and bones riddle. So yeah, you can hand on over to Derek because now we're going to get into the deeper numbers.
Right. So as you said, when was the last time we saw the Mormon church in the news, especially something as tragic as this? And it's literally within an hour or two of news breaking that the death of the president of the Mormon church occurred the previous night, September 27th. And this is a major date to the occult, as September 27th is also the formation date of the Society of Jesus. So we actually had a shooting in North Carolina last night as well, which goes along with the Charles theme that we've been exploring over the past few weeks. And this guy dies. He was the 17th president of the Church of Jesus Christ, paving the way for Dallin H. Oaks, who is now the 18th president of that same church. Well, when the 17th president died, it was 17 days after the death of Charlie Kirk. And remember, Charlie Kirk died on a date with numerology of 17. In fact, the date of his death perfectly matched the word kill. It had 44, 64, 17, and 28 numerology. In the alphabetic order, Mormons also equals 107, which in numerology represents the number 17. But also think about the date of the attack on the Mormon church, the 28th of September, which internationally is written as 28/9. Now, in my first post on Charlie Kirk, I talked at length about the number 289 because he was shot at Utah Valley University, which equals 289. And this number was found in Trump's age for both Kirk's birth and his death. Kirk was, of course, a fan of the Chicago Bears, which equals 289. But this very much applies to the state of Utah, the home of the Mormons. As the state of Utah, it was originally proposed to be called Deseret, which is a word from the Book of Mormon, which means honeybee. And to this day, Utah is the beehive state. But this name, Deseret, stands out because in Latin gematria, Deseret sums to 289, which once again is the 17th square number. and the president of the Mormons, who is highly revered in the church. They don't just give him the title of president, they also see this guy as a seer or a prophet. So this all connects to the date of the event there. But we also have to talk about the number 18, because this guy, Oakes, is now the 18th president of the Mormon Church. And his first day on the job, the same day as the attack, was a span of 18 days after Kirk's death. His full name in gematria sums to 108 to represent the number 18. But his name also equals 171 in the alphabetic order. And 171, simply the 18th triangular number. So he has a couple of connections to these digits. The last president, Russell M. Nelson, his name equals 180, like Mormons with capital letters. And also fire, which is a huge part of this riddle. Now consider how the former president, who just passed away last night, if you look at his educational history, we find that he graduated from the University of Minnesota, whereas the new president graduated from the University of Chicago. And just think about this. Just last month, on August 27th, we had a church shooting at Annunciation Church in Minnesota. And if you saw our videos on that, you know how that was linked to the assassination code. And Charlie Kirk, a native of the city of Chicago. And this all connects to the NFL. Remember, Minnesota had the comeback win against Chicago to open week 1. And Charlie Kirk was on his American comeback tour. Now, what really stands out is, once again, this was a day after the Jesuit anniversary, September 27th. And as you highlighted the quote below, Erica Kirk saying, "You have no idea of the fire that you have ignited." Well, the founder of the Jesuit order, one of the founders, Saint Ignatius of Loyola, used to tell the Jesuits to go set the world on fire. Now, of course, he wrote this line in Latin, which is ite inflammate omnia. And when you write this phrase out, you get 180, 108, and 81, all syncing up to the 18th president of the Mormon Church. But this goes even further, because when you write out this Latin phrase in the Latin cipher, which is based in the original Latin alphabet, the 23 letters of the classical Latin alphabet, with the 3 modern characters at the end, ite inflammate omnia sums to 486 in the Latin method. Well, today's attack occurred on the first day of the Jesuits' 486th year of operation. So not only does this phrase sum to 486, but yesterday was also the 485th anniversary. And this is the gematria of the phrase human sacrifice. So one shooting in North Carolina with several people dead at an outdoor bar. And then just a few hours later, it's being reported that 4 are now dead at this Mormon church attack. And as we can see, Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, or just the town's name on its own, both of these have matching gematria with the Mormon president who just passed away, Russell Marion Nelson, 368 and 1200. Now, an intriguing fact about this guy is that as a graduate of the University of Utah, he was a member of their Skull and Bones Society. Now, it's claimed that this version of Skull and Bones is not affiliated with the one at Yale University. However, it does appear as if this secret society at Utah was founded by alumnists of the Yale Skull and Bones Society. And just a little look here. This is a yearbook from 1935 from the University of Utah. And quite a diverse selection of gentlemen, I would say. Out of the 18 people shown, members of Skull and Bones, only 18 of them are whites with bow ties. So this guy is a member of Skull and Bones. And in my video that I did a couple weeks ago on the church shooting, or the Kirk shooting, which does mean church, I explained how it was all connected to the Skull and Bones Code through the Orem, Utah temple, which was essentially across the street from where Kirk died. Here we see Utah Valley University on the right and the point at which he was shot, allegedly. And then right across the freeway, we had this new Orem, Utah temple. And all of the numbers of Skull and Bones, 223, 322, coded into Charlie's age when this church was constructed. This is all in my video. I don't want to dive too deep into this. But coming back to this guy, Kirk dies one day after this former Mormon president turned 101 years old. Well, with the S exception, Skull and Bones Society equals 101. And as we've seen in the past, both Mormon Church or the Mormons, they both have strong matching gematria with Skull and Bones, ordinal and standard, and then a super match with the Mormons. So all of this is already starting to come together a little bit too well. But of course, the primary number of the Skull and Bones Society is 322. And this goes back to an entity created by William Huntington Russell, the eulogian, the goddess of eloquence, who passed away in 322 BC. Well, the 322nd composite number. So a composite number is any number that's not a prime number, where it has, multiple divisors. The 322nd composite is 402. And when you use capital letters, the phrase Skull and Bones does equal 402. Well, if you measure from the date Russell M. Nelson first took over as the president of the Mormon Church to the date of today's shooting, we find it was exactly 402 weeks later. So this is also the exact time that he was the president. If you include the end date, he died exactly 402 weeks after he took over at the church. But this 402 weeks also yields another intriguing measurement, as it's equivalent to 103 sidereal months, or lunar orbits. And 103 is the ordinal gematria of both Jesuits and the Vatican. Of course, the Jesuits, kind of the militant branch of the Catholic Church, which is headquartered at the Vatican. 103 is also the gematria of the translation of St. Ignatius's famous phrase, "Go set the world on fire," or "Go set everything on fire." No matter how you write that out, it equals 103. LDS Church and Jesuit also share the 42 with the number of weeks he was in his office. So what we're looking at is kind of a joint riddle between the Skull and Bones Society and the Jesuit order. And this seems to be confirmed with the name of the perpetrator, Thomas Jacob Sanford, which yields this integral Latin gematria of 1206, syncing up with both Skull and Crossbones and the Jesuit order. In fact, Mormon president also matches Jesuit order. But back to this number 103. Of course, the Mormon Church on fire after the mass shooting, which I don't believe is something we've seen before, is it? Do you guys recall a mass shooting that also ended in a building blowing up in flames?
I haven't.
Well, that's what I wanted to point out, especially is that this doesn't happen ever. What you asked, Eric, when is the last time you guys seen a fire for a shooting? Like, I don't remember one ever in my time. So I think this had to be this way for the Jesuit go set the world on fire. And if you guys, again, just a reminder, go back and check my video on the fire starter. I did a video about it. I saw how it was going to come fire, and I think that we're probably going to see more fire rituals as we go.
Shout out Raymond. Raymond did mention Waco. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But that's been a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. You had the FBI involved and all that, but
Right.
you know, it does happen from time to time, but not since I've been decoding do I remember this. Now, what's also interesting about this 103 connection, as this represents the digits 13, and in the alphabetic order, 13 is the only number with gematria of 99. Russell Nelson was born on September 9th, 9/9, and his name, as it's commonly referred to, Russell M. Nelson, equals 990, which matches Skull and Bones Secret Society. Another element that seems to be significant to me is, I mentioned how the new Mormon president graduated from the University of Chicago. And again, Chicago, Charlie Kirk's hometown. Well, back in the year 1871, we had the Great Chicago Fire. And that fire began on October 8th, or 10/8. That, of course, represents the number 18. We looked at this earlier, right? Ite inflammate omnia has essentially triple gematria of the number 18. So this guy took over as the Mormon Church's president a span of 99 days after the date of the Great Chicago Fire. And when you write out Great Chicago Fire, it sums to both 90 and 90 in each of the reduction methods. But isn't it interesting that we're talking about this riddle connected to the Jesuits and their special anniversary? Well, this fire broke out in the year 1871. In standard English gematria, this gives us a 4-digit connection to the Society of Jesus, which sums to 1871. Now, this is the 286th prime number, just to take it an extra step further. Jesuit Order and Grand Blanc Township both yield the 286 as well. So again, just to reiterate, because I find this extremely significant, Ite inflammate omnia, or Go Set the World on Fire, 486. Today, the first day of the Jesuits' 486th year of operation.
That's a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you take this logic to the new Mormon president, well, today is also the first day of Dallin Oaks' 1246th lunar orbit. Well, 1246 matches Mormon church shooting in gematria. And just last night in America, we had a mass shooting at the American Fish Company, which also gives us this 1246. And don't forget, 1246 is a number I talk about semi-frequently, as when Yale University celebrated its 322nd anniversary in the year 2023, both of those numbers extremely significant to this fraternity. That anniversary fell under Brown lunation number 1246. A Brown lunation number, this counts every new moon since 1923. It's named after an astronomer named Ernest William Brown. And when you write out 1246, well, what do you know? It sums to 223 in the alphabetic order. The new president born 22,223 days after the Great Chicago Fire. Now, this guy's name, Dallin Harris Oaks, the new leader of the Mormons, his name sums to 72 in reduction gematria matching Jesuit order. And today's attack is 720 days after Yale's 322nd anniversary. So another thing that stands out about this guy is look at where he was born. Provo, Utah. Well, Provo, Utah neighbors the city of Orem, Utah, which is where Charlie was killed. And I guess it's not that big of a deal since, this area, especially in Utah, is home to the Mormon church. But I thought it was interesting that Provo, Utah sums to this special 1189 in standard. This is an important number to the Bible, as the King James Version features 1189 chapters. The last Mormon president turned exactly 1189 months old for Yale's Skull and Bones anniversary.
Hey, Derek, if I can just add something to what you've been talking about with the Chicago connections with Charlie, with this new president of the Mormon Church, Skull and Bones, etc. I touched on this a while back, but Provo kind of sounds like Prevost, Robert Francis Prevost, right? And let's not forget that we're now in the time of the first American Pope, who is from Chicago, right? So I wanted to throw that in there because he has that September 14th birthday, the date written 14/9, where Skull and Bones equals 149 in the simplest cipher.
Yeah, it's a great point.
And today is 14 days after his birthday on the 14th, and he's Pope Leo the 14th.
Dead equals 14.
Dead equals 14. So, and multiple ciphers. So that's the Pope connection right there. That quick 14 thing, that's pretty obvious right there.
Absolutely. And, we're talking about presidents, right? Russell Nelson, Dallin Oaks. Well, the current American president, Donald J. Trump, also has that 1189. And back to what you pointed out at the top of the video, Cody, the actor who played Charles Kirkland in the 1998 film Snake Eyes, not only is today his birthday, but he's also 1189 sidereal months of age.
Oh, wow. See,
it's just perfect because this is also a Fibonacci connection. The 11th Fibonacci number is 89, and it's also his 89th birthday, which syncs up to the word kill. And just to highlight once again, when Kirk was shot, the numerology of this date, 4 of these 5 numbers are found in the base 4 ciphers of the word kill. Now, one more thing I wanted to share, and I'm not sure if it might be in my other post, but did you guys know there was a Skull and Bones video game that was released last year?
I do remember looking into this when it first came out. All I remember was that they pushed out the release date like 2 or 3 different times. But
sure, and it makes you wonder why, because it turns out this was a pretty significant date, February 16th of 2024. Now, if you measure from that date to Yale's special Skull and Bones anniversary, when it turned 322 years old, we find that this was 130 days later. And with the ampersand, Skull and Bones gives us the 130. So is the phrase human sacrifice 130. And once again, yesterday was the 485th anniversary of the Jesuit order. But then, if you measure from that game's release date to the shooting death of Charlie Kirk, which was on 9/10, very similar to Yale's 10/9 anniversary.
Oh, wow.
We get 572 days. And in that special Latin method,
Wow.
skull and bones, 572. So this is just confirming a lot of the things that all of us have been talking about since the assassination occurred. But again, it's as solid as can be. And that's the gist of my work. I did find an incredible synchronicity with Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you want me to get into this right now, or if you guys got anything to add before I take this to kind of, another layer of the weeds, so to speak.
Yeah, I want to. You can go ahead and finish that thought with the Kobe Bryant thing, because there's some other things I want to talk about, but I think we can.
Well, it's funny that there's 134 likes that you just pointed out, Cody, and that was the date of Kobe Bryant's last game, April 13th, back in 2016. We just touched on the 216 date too.
Well, right. And who did Kobe play in his last game?
Oh, there you go. Yep, Utah.
Oh, he played Utah in his last game. I forgot that. Wow.
Yeah.
So
some people in the community say, "Hey, look out for Utah to go 31-31 to start their season."
Well, I wouldn't say it's unlikely. Yeah, Utah Jazz shares that 113 gematria with Kobe Bryant. And don't worry, I'll make a little more sense of this connection in a little bit. But when you measure from that date to today, notice how it's been 113 months since his last game. Now, the reason I started talking about Kobe to begin with, now I actually picked up on this last night with this shooting in Southport, North Carolina, because North Carolina's basketball team, the Charlotte Hornets, and again, Charlotte and Carolina, both references to the name Charles. Well, that team drafted Kobe Bryant and then quickly traded him to the Lakers. And Southport sits on the 33rd parallel, matching Kobe in ordinal. Kobe wore number 33 in high school, which he was drafted directly out of. And you look at the city of Southport, and it has matching gematria with Kobe being Bryant, who also has numbers connecting to the human sacrifice code that is so relevant to the news in the past couple of days.
Derek, Kobe was also born in the year 78, so that other parallel alignment with the 33 you just pointed out. Notice that it's the 33 north, but it's also the 78th west. So Kobe equals 33, born in the year 78.
Yes, thanks for that addition, because I did leave that out. The shooting last night was at a waterfront bar, which has matching 780 gematria with skull and bones and human sacrifice. The Jesuit order and Jesuit, both giving us that 78. And as you said, that's the birth year of Kobe Bryant. Also, the number 13 heavily coded into Kobe. He was drafted 13th, born on the date leaving 130 days, dead on a date with 13 numerology. He played for LA his whole career, which is a city that sums to 13 when abbreviated. So, of course, there's a little bit more. Also, the human sacrifice code, again, ties to Kobe Bryant because he wore the numbers 24 and 8, which is why the 24th of August is now Kobe Bryant's day, even though he was born a day before that. But human sacrifice 248, Kobe Bryant also 248 in one of the more obscure ciphers. And this was 2,071 days after Kobe's death. Well, American Fish Company, the site of the shooting, is 271. The current lunation number is 1,271. And this news broke on the same day as the Mormon church shooting, which is now the 271st day of the year. So there's a few more connections here. I don't want to get too deep into it. All of these are up on my blog at gematrinator.com. But then, fast forward to today, and we get this new shooting. And this confirms the Kobe Bryant connection. The governor of Michigan, where today's church attack occurred, was also born on August 23rd, the same birthday as Kobe Bryant. Well, Kobe died on January 26th. Well, the state of Michigan, which Gretchen governs, celebrates its anniversary on January 26th. So both of the dates connected to Kobe are found right there. You don't have to dig deep. And check out how old Gretchen Whitmer is today. Exactly 2,823 weeks. The same 823 found in her August 23rd birthday. Now, that date can also be written 23/8. Today's attack in Grand Blanc, which equals 238. Go set the world on fire, 238. And another connection you can say is Blanc in French means white. And this governor's name is Whitmer, which kind of begins with the color white. So to cap this off, Gretchen and Kobe born exactly 84 months apart. Today is exactly 80 months and 4 weeks after Gretchen became the governor. Grand Blanc, Michigan, 840. The recently deceased president of the Mormon Church, his full name, 84. And again, this is the number that connects the Jesuit order to the Skull and Bones Code. Jesuit, the Jesuit order, skull and crossbones, skull and bones, all yield the 84. And that's why I think the shooter in the North Carolina event from last night, his name was Nigel Max Edge, which sums up the 84th prime number in multiple ciphers.
What kind of name is that?
I kind of like that name. It kind of sounds like a race car driver. I don't know.
Yeah, it does sound like a race car driver, but it's just such a weird name. I never seen anything like that.
Well, I was a fan. You know, usually you get a name, you know, this guy today, Thomas Jacob Sanford. You know, it just seems like 3 random names put together. I kind of appreciate it when they give us something a little more, quote, edgy.
Yeah.
Sorry for the poor humor, everybody, but so yeah, I mean, Kobe Bryant, also born exactly 183 years after Michigan was admitted to the Union, and the Mormon Church formed in 1830. So that's pretty much my spiel. Again, there's a little more, but what more do you need? This all connects to the Jesuit order, Ite inflammate omnia, or go set the world on fire, with the Jesuits in their 486th year.
Yeah, and I just want to just continue to remind people that, you know, all this stuff is just all this stuff the whole month we've been talking about, and now we get this. Just a perfect thing to go with what we've been talking about all month. Derek had already done a video on the Mormons and the Skull and Bones and Charlie Kirk. I had already done a video on fire. We had already done a video on Snake Eyes, which went viral, and now all of you.
I did that video connecting the Mormon Church to Skull and Bones because they were formed just 2 years apart. I didn't even know that the president of the Mormon Church was a member of Skull and Bones at Utah when I did that video.
Right.
So again, you know, things as you learn, these things just confirm themselves over and over.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know that Skull and Bones was in Utah.
Yep, in the year 1909 is where they said it was founded. Now, granted, this here says 1908, but I believe it was the class of 1909, which does make sense as a University of Utah sums to 199. And oh, look at that, 1998, the year that Snake Eyes came out, and now Charlie Kirk dead in the year of the snake.
Well, that's interesting.
Those too, like it's called U of U, which gives you a 666. The 456, a big.
Well, look at the 218s, like wow. Istus Hominum Salvator, IHS. Just IHS has that. And that's what I had in my slides before that's what I wanted to really touch on, was that why did it happen 18 days after Charlie Kirk's funeral? Well, it's all about the IHS. You know, Jesus, the Savior of men. What's the main prominent thing in the Mormon Church? The Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. That's the most important part of their whole name. So,
in something else I found out, you know, this phrase stands for Jesus Hominum Salvator, which is 266, and the first Jesuit pope was Francis, the 266th pope. But if you use Google's translation, go set everything on fire, you get a double 266, both in ordinal and in standard. So it's kind of mind-blowing when you look at it this way.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I like I said, that fire thing, I just saw that was going to be part of the riddles going forward, just because of and remember, for those of you new here, and look at this, I got 573 in the chat, so a lot of new people here. I might just kind of go over the first point I made too, just for the new people just getting in. Is that all you have, Derek, for your slides?
Yeah, you can take it away from here if you'd like.
Okay. Let me get wait, hold on. Oh, wait, you have it, AJ. I was trying to do it myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I apologize.
Yeah, so for those of the 564 in here now, that's a big, and please hit those like buttons, guys. We got 564 in the chat, only 171 likes. So 300 something people don't like this apparently, but that's okay. We'll keep going. The point is what we started off talking about, and Derek, thank you for going through the numbers and putting that all together and making my job a bit easier tonight. The main point we started off with, for those of you, first of all, I have like a couple thousand new subscribers here. So I'm assuming I'm talking to a lot of new people in the chat as well. And for those of you who got here, how did you guys get here? Probably through my Snake Eyes video, probably through my Snake Eyes video. So for those of you who just got here and don't know how this is connected to the Snake Eyes, I'm just going to reiterate it. So this shooting and fire starting at the Mormon Church today, it just so happens that it happened on the birthday of the actor who played Charles Kirkland. And I'm assuming most of you guys who've watched the videos know how this movie was tied to this. And just happens to be that Charles Kirkland, the actor, his birthday is today. And as Derek just pointed out, that movie was out in 1998. And he just said, what was it that equaled 1998?
University of Utah, which is where the last Mormon president graduated from.
And don't forget this, connecting back to the fires, this year started out with fire. That was our first taste of the year 2025, was fires. And that was in LA. Well, that probably makes it even more interesting connection to Kobe, considering all that. And here's something that we didn't go over yet, which I do want to touch on. But before I get to that, again, the Kirkland thing, just to go back to the Snake Eyes thing, on September 10th, 2008, there was a lawsuit filed against George Soros and Donald J. Trump and their law firm, Kirkland & Ellis. And this on September 10th, and this was, again, Kirkland. And that is the name of the character in Snake Eyes, Charles Kirkland. And again, just to reiterate, the new Mormon president who took over today on this fire, just to go back over that, what are the odds of this happening on this transition between two presidents in the Mormon Church, and then you have this huge news story and attack on a Mormon church? But again, look at where this new president, Dolan H. Oaks, look at where he worked. And this is just mind-blowing to me because, again, I mentioned this in our live stream with Donut yesterday, AJ. I mentioned this lawsuit, and I didn't have the screen up to look at it and show it, but I wish I would have now, because then people could come to this video and say, wow, you just talked about Kirkland & Ellis. I literally was going to talk about it. I just didn't have the slide up to show it. And so to me, and what I thought of actually a few days ago when all this went down, I looked at the birthday of Joel Fabiani, right? The actor who played Kirkland. And I was like, oh, wait, his birthday's in a few days. I wonder what we get on his birthday. And I had that thought. I didn't really follow that thought to any sort of substantial things, but that's a thought I had. And it makes me want to look more into this guy at some point, maybe, and see what more I can find. And look at this. I didn't even notice this. He's born in 1936. That's the year Pope Francis was born. Okay. So let's just do a quick, I just want to see 1936. Because Pope Francis just died this year, right? Of course. And this guy, born September 28th. Oh, look at that. It's either 113, but what I'm seeing here is the 81 days. Didn't Derek, you just had the quote, the 81 in is it the Latin phrase, go set the world on fire or something like that?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. 81 in standard reduction.
And that's Kobe Bryant. That's a big Kobe Bryant connection too. Interesting. But yeah, so basically, guys, the guy who just Joel Fabiani in Snake Eyes, he's got that connection to the Jesuit Pope who just died this year. And yeah, so has to be probably something more with their connection. Oh, look at that. So Pope Francis was born on 84 numerology and 48. Well, Joel Fabiani equals 84 and 48. So it would be even crazier if he was born 84 days before, but just a few days off. But yeah, Pope Francis has that numerology when he was born. So, and just the next thing I want to really talk about, and then I'll let AJ get some stuff in here. So yesterday night, before this shooting happened, at the school, today, it was last night. I was checking over my news reports, and as you guys know, and for everyone new to the channel, I decode WWE wrestling because it's coded with the events, and I've proven that hundreds of times. And I always take notice when somebody wins a championship, when somebody takes a championship from somebody else, and how that might connect to significant events going on around that same time. Well, it just so happens that last night, did I not message you, Derek, about this before this all even happened? Or
Indeed you did.
Yeah. So I messaged Derek. Let me see if I can even find the message. I probably don't have it up here, but it doesn't matter. I said to Derek, I don't know if it was last night or this morning, I was like, Ricky Saints won in a surprise win over at No Mercy over Oba Femi, who's known as the ruler, as in somebody who rules, a king. And I was like, well, there has to be something significant with this. His name is Ricky Saints. And I had just done a video on the rapture because everyone was talking about the rapture. And I talked about how Trump was at the UN on the birthday of the guy who wrote the Left Behind series, which stars Kirk Cameron, which connects to Charlie Kirk. And of course, the saints, the rapture is all about the rapture of the saints. It's all about saints. And I was like, wow, this has to mean something. So here, fast forward to today, and you get this guy, or you get this the news of this guy dying, right? The Mormon president, which he died on the same day as Ricky Saints won. So you get it. There's a ruler. This guy topples the ruler, and this guy takes over. It's kind of like a symbolic transfer. And again, this happened on the anniversary. Is somebody getting a feedback? Is that?
I think it might be coming from Derek.
Oh, is it? I kept hearing
I don't hear anything. Yeah, I don't hear anything now. I do now.
I kept thinking I'm hearing water running. But so anyways, Ricky Saints won the championship on the founding date of the Jesuits, which was founded by Saint Ignatius of Loyola, who once again said, go set the world on fire. And what is this guy's motto, Ricky Saints? His whole theme is basically, in my opinion, is like starting a fire, a revolution. He likes to say, the revolution will be televised. And this guy kind of reminds me of The Rock. He has kind of this same energy as Dwayne The Rock Johnson, if you guys can't already tell. He has that same kind of vibe. And so I'm thinking he'll be one of the next stars, and they're really getting ready to push him. But yeah, it's all about starting a fire or a revolution. So
What do you think about this, Cody? The New Orleans Saints came into this weekend with 928 total games played, and that matches the date of today's Mormon church attack.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Nothing too big, but big number.
Well, that's crazy, because this guy also, not only is he named Ricky Saints, he gets his name from New Orleans, because that's where he's from.
Yeah, so that is a connection, and that's big.
So that's the reason he calls himself, because when he came from AEW, the other wrestling company, to WWE in the last year, he changed his name from Ricky Starks to Ricky Saints. And I was like, why did they change it to Ricky Saints? And obviously it was for 100% of a reason. But let me show you how this connects to this, because there is a connection with him and the shooting. I'm trying to remember what it was that match now. I didn't make a slide for it. Oh, that's what it was. It was the 149. And how much did we talk about the 149 already? And I don't have the Skull and Bones in there, but so if we type all that in, we had him winning the championship on the anniversary of Saint Ignatius and on the death of the Mormon church president. And look at what he equals. Ricky Saints, 149, like Mormon church. But it's not just that, guys. His real name, Richard Starks, also equals 149. So if you guys don't think that they choose these names in WWE, these characters, their names are chosen, how do you think it's possible that both his real name and his current stage name both have that same number? And it happens to match Mormon Church and Skull and Bones, which Derek has already done a great job of breaking down how Skull and Bones is connected to the Mormon Church.
Cody, you're not telling me wrestling is scripted, are you?
Oh, no, of course not. It's the most
There's
real.
no way. There's
no
no
way
way
it's scripted. No way. But yeah, these are the slides I already had that Derek already touched on, but I really wanted to highlight how it was 18 days after, which is the gematria of Saint and IHS. And what was the other one we had earlier, which was 2 18s? Oh, it was the U something
U or whatever. Yeah.
U of U. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't look more into Ricky Saints, but going forward, he will be part of this Saints narrative. And the reason I also want to touch on the Saints is, what was their did the Saints win today?
No, they lost.
Yeah, they lost. They hung in there, though.
What was the score?
Have to check.
They lost by like 11?
Well, they lost by 11, huh?
There's your 31, the 11th prime.
I just know that they beat the spread, but yeah, 19.
They scored 19. They scored 19. Today is a span of 19 days after Kirk's shooting, right? Or is that tomorrow?
Hey, Cody, I'm going to step out for like 1 minute. I'll be right back.
All right. So Kirk's shooting was, and this is what another point I wanted to make for everyone. The reason you're seeing the Saints
was 19 also.
Yeah, Saints.
Yep.
Let's see. And the Saints scored 19. And as Derek just pointed out, Saints equals 19.
Yeah, I remember
And
the Saints coach, Sean Payton, was one of the first guys in sports to get COVID-19.
oh yeah, I forgot that. But yeah, and Sean Payton, he now coaches the Denver Broncos. But yeah, so anyway, the point is the 19 points by the Saints today, 19 days after the shooting, and Saints equals 19, and Charlie Kirk is Charlie. This is what LDS equals 19. That's a good addition as well. LDS 19. So LDS being 19, and considering that the date he was shot on can be written 1009, like another in numerology, that's another 19. And when Charlie Kirk started his company, he was in his 19th year of life. And Chaos, that's another one should probably throw in here. Chaos has that 19 and that 89. So today's the 89th birthday of the actor who played Charles Kirkland. I didn't even spell chaos right. Sorry, guys. But there it is. What else I was going to say? Oh, Charlie Kirk is being portrayed as a saint. That's what this whole riddle, I believe, is connected to. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be made a saint or anything, but I'm just saying that they're giving this riddle off. And don't forget, a few days before, I believe this is all connected to this guy. A few days before Charlie Kirk was shot, Pope Leo, he made Carlo Acutis, which, again, Carlo is another word for Charles, like Charles Kirk. He made Carlo Acutis a saint. And a very significant saint because he became the first millennial saint, and he's known as the patron saint of the internet. Well, internet equals 105, and Charlie Kirk, who died a few days later, 105. And I believe
this is a great addition.
Just like
he was
Arizona.
canonized on September 7th, which was the date of the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, 3 days before Charlie was shot.
Yep. And I should have done a whole video on this because this was a very significant event that really no one covered. I knew it was going on, but I just never got a chance to do a video on it because the day I was going to do a video on it, Charlie Kirk got shot. But yeah, he was known as the patron saint of the internet. Oh, look at that. There's a 222 for Joseph. But another interesting fact that most people, I think, overlook sometimes in gematria, look at the gematria of the internet and Donald Trump.
Don't they call Trump the internet president?
Do
something like, I mean, I think there's something with that, especially with all the stuff he was doing on Twitter during his first term.
They might. I'll have
I could be wrong.
I'll have to look that up and see, because Trump internet president. Well, this connects to my Charlotte's Web too. The web, the internet. This is really going back to that Trump internet president. They call him the crypto. Wrong. They call him the crypto president. I know that. I think it's the crypto president, which also makes sense because crypto is internet money, essentially. Yeah. So I think there's something big coming with the internet. I think we possibly could have some sort of false flag that we get with the internet. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because we just had the internet saint, the saint of the internet, be canonized, right? And we just had Ricky Saints win, right? And his frame, he's all about the revolution, like internet money, revolution of the internet, which I believe is what they're hinting at, because revolution is connected to the show called Revolution, which I haven't covered yet. Whoops, this one. So this show, which I've talked about before on my channel, the reason this is so important is because this is about a worldwide blackout. And with Ricky Saints winning and him being part of the revolution, and then the internet, the patron saint of the internet, also just being, put in. I think there's definitely still this blackout riddle going on. And another interesting fact is this show came out in 2012, and that's the year that Charlie Kirk founded his company, which not many days after that, actually. But I'm going to have a standalone video on that later. I just wanted to kind of show you guys where I'm going with all this revolution and saint stuff. And I think I'm getting wrapped up on my thoughts. AJ, do you have any particular thoughts on anything?
I do. During the presentation that both you and Derek presented, I stumbled upon something that I'm going to leave for the end of my slides that I think is going to open your eyes quite a bit, especially in the world of wrestling. So, I just have a couple slides really just kind of reviewing last night's game with BYU versus Colorado, and kind of just walking through some numbers that these players were wearing, and kind of ending with a little more recon I did on the alleged shooter of today's event. So, is there anything else you wanted to share before I dive in?
Not right now. You can go ahead and take the screen.
Okay.
And don't forget that the like buttons, guys. 856 watching in a live stream. Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to hit that like or subscribe. We appreciate you guys.
I have 850. This is my give all yourselves a pat on the back. 800. This is my by far my most filled live stream ever. So thank you to all of the 800 of you watching right now.
So before I dive into this actual game last night where BYU defeated the Colorado Buffaloes, there was something I came across about social media users claiming that Kirk was shot at 12:23 p.m. local time, and they were linking it to John 12:23. I haven't had a chance to read that particular verse, but Joseph, get on it, my friend. As per reports, the 31-year-old Trump ally was shot around 12:20 p.m. local time, but there are sources out there that say it was 12:23. Whether we can validate that as actual fact, I don't think we can do that. But going off of that, I looked up 12:23. Well, that just so happens to be the 748th minute of the day.
43rd.
Sorry, what did I say?
You said 748.
743rd minute of the day.
Okay, I got to stop you real fast first because you're already blowing my mind. You didn't even say anything really, and you're already blowing my mind. This 132 number.
Yep.
Do you have a screen where you can go to your calculator and type in the rapture? Can you do that?
I mean, how about you pull it up? I'll pass it back to you real quick.
Well, it's up. You can just hit my hit over to my screen. I
got it up on mine too.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
This 1223 stands out also because the founder of the Mormon Church, he was born on December 23rd or 1223 as well.
Yeah, and the reason literally just last night or the night before, I had this 132 number coming up in a date measurement, and now I can't think of what it was. I always do this, but it connected with this, the rapture 132, and I was just talking about the saints getting raptured. And remember, people were talking about this event with Charlie at 12:23 because the 12:23 was 9:23, right? And 9:23 is Feast of Trumpets. Feast of Trumpets in Jewish. And so you're telling me that not only does this 12:23 date connect with the Feast of Trumpets, where everyone thought they were going to get raptured, but it also connects being the 743rd minute of the day, which again you just showed, which is connected to that 132. So that just brought all of my connections together. I don't even think you knew you were going to blow my mind with that, did you?
No, I didn't. Well, I mean, I do recall the whole rapture thing that rolled out in the news a few days ago. But yeah, dude, my goodness. Derek, I see you're pulling up Joseph Smith. Was there something else you wanted to share about that? Oh, there you go. December 23rd, 12:23.
Yep. Joseph Smith, 12:23. He's
the fact that he was shot at 12:23 in Utah, the home of the Mormons, 1223, the birthday of the Mormon founder. I think that's pretty interesting, especially with the connections to the Jesuit order that we've been exploring, as that also sums to 1223.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I didn't even have that part of my presentation. All I really had here was just going back to show the 132s that Derek was touching on earlier in his presentation. Catholic Church, BYU Cougars, we're going to talk about them in a second, but also United States of America, all fitting topics with everything we've been talking about. So there's the 743rd minute of the day, 132nd prime. And what I'm going to share with you guys is just some things I found interesting, having this game on in the background, looking into just the Charlie Kirk symbolism I immediately thought of when I saw this matchup alone, because don't forget, you guys, there was a shooting in Colorado, a school shooting that went down the same day that Charlie Kirk was shot at a school as well. So now we have...
AJ, if I could just add that,
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're
the
good.
Shooting was at Evergreen High School, which was the same high school as the South Park creator, Trey Parker.
Oh my God.
The South Park creators also had that Broadway play about the Mormon Church.
That's right. Well, and then Charlie Kirk was on South Park, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, on August 6th, just a month before the assassination.
Unbelievable, man. Yeah. Thank you for adding that, for sure. The first thing that stood out to me here, I was like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback wear the number 47. And obviously that's a huge number for a lot of reasons. News 47, time 47, a lot of that. But typically a quarterback doesn't wear the number 47. It immediately makes me think of the tent that Charlie Kirk was sitting at with all the 47 hats that were on the table, right? But sure enough, in the background, I heard, because this quarterback, he's a freshman, he had a great game, and they mentioned his name. His name is Bear. His name is Bear. And like Cody pointed out earlier, Charlie Kirk being from Chicago, he's a Bears fan, right? And notice the score too. This was from the third period or the third quarter of the game. But this was in the opening minutes of the third quarter. So the halftime score was 10-14. Well, that just so happens to be Charlie Kirk's birthday, right? October 14th. The date written 10/14. So you got number 47. His name is Bear, as the quarterback. He's standing alongside running back wearing number 4. We know all about how 4 is the number associated with the word death in Mandarin culture. And not to mention, even right above here on the right side, wide receiver number 11. Kirk died at age 31, the 11th prime. And then on the left side, you have a player wearing the number 20, which is a huge death number, right? Equaling 20 in Pythagorean. And so sure enough, BYU goes on this drive and they end up scoring a touchdown. And the score, you'll notice, went from 10-14 to 17-14. Derek, you did some great work pointing out the 17s, right? We just saw the death of the 17th president of the Mormon Church, right? And for me, it was as simple as just notice that kill and dead both are equated to these numbers. Kill equals 17 and dead equals 14 in several ciphers, including the Jewish cipher. And then you just add up the numbers 17 and 14. What do you get? 31. Takes us right back to that 31 that I've been seeing all over the place since Charlie's death at the age of 31, right? So that's what I had for that particular game last night. I don't think it's a coincidence that this game was played on the Jesuit order's birthday, the same date that the president of the Mormon Church perishes, right? And beyond that, what I really am excited to share with you, Cody, is I was looking into a little bit more about this shooter, Thomas Jacob Sanford, right? Well, I don't remember if you were on that live with me or not, but I did a live stream called Scavenger Hunt, right? And we were talking all about how Charlie Kirk was talking to a student named Hunter right before he got shot by a hunting rifle, talking about gun violence, right? And sure enough, if you guys just go to the mainstream sources as they're talking about who the shooter was today, well, they're pointing out that he was a hunter and an outdoorsman, right? And Derek, you were just talking about fish earlier. There was that shooting at, it's already escaping me. It was like a fish house or something.
American Fish Company is what it was called. Yeah.
American Fish Company. Yeah. So they just point out here that he's a hunter and a fisherman. And the photos show him in camouflage with deer that he had harvested and fish he had caught while ice fishing. Well, don't forget, it was a hunting rifle, right, that Charlie Kirk was apparently shot by. But notice this, his middle name is Jacob, right? And Cody, pay attention here. When I saw Jake, he goes by Jake.
Mm-hmm. Jake the Snake?
It made me think of Jake the Snake. And I was like, wait a minute, wasn't that a wrestler?
Yeah.
And I did a quick look here. I was like, oh, yeah, there's a whole documentary, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. Well, what happened on the death anniversary of George Floyd earlier this year? You and I talked about it. You did a great presentation about Duck Dynasty, right?
Yep. The guy with my last name, Mr. Robertson there.
Right. So isn't this Jake Roberts?
Yep.
Jake the Snake, Jake Roberts. And then you have Phil Robertson, who died earlier this year. I just thought that was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
To me, just related to the wrestling thing. And I don't know the first thing about wrestling, but now that we know that this particular shooter went by the name Jake Roberts, Phil Robertson. And this is another one of those common photos that they're showing of him holding up a duck in his hunting gear. See what I'm saying?
Funny that Charlie was a fan of the Ducks, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. So there's definitely a big hunting theme going on this year as well. But that's all I had really to share with you guys tonight.
Well, that's good, because we needed to talk about the shooter, because that was kind of something we lacked a little bit of info on. And with that, I guess I can lead into the slides that Joseph Aquaviva shared with us.
Yeah.
So Joseph, raise your hand in the chat if you're still here, so that AJ can put you on the screen so people can see you. So Joseph said he was feeling a bit too tired to do a video of his own, so he just sent me over a slide, and I just kind of want to cover the basic, simple stuff with what Joseph shared. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yep, you're good.
All right, so the shooter, as AJ just pointed out, his name is, Charlie Conway from the Mighty Ducks. Wow. Joseph, bringing up my childhood. You guys remember the Mighty Ducks, Charlie Conway? He's the main character. Huh.
That's right.
I have to look into that now. Interesting. So yeah, Joseph sent over these slides. So big shout out to Joseph Aquaviva 2222. This is his channel right here. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him. 90s kids know, he says. Yep, that's for sure. My favorite movies, literally my favorite movies. Iraq War veteran Thomas Sanford ID'd as the gunman who attacked Grand Blanc LDS Church, setting it ablaze. Well, Thomas Sanford is a two-cipher match to the Illuminati. And the Illuminati, you think of fire, you think of a fire in the eye, fire in the consciousness of mind. That's kind of what I think of that, setting a fire in people's minds. And not only that, connecting back to the Jesuit order, Thomas Sanford, the guy's name, equals Jesuit order in 3 out of 4, pretty much. Also, Russell M. Nelson, president of the Mormon Church, he died at 101. So he turned 101 years old on the 9/9 date, one day before Charlie Kirk was shot. And how perfect it is, because not only did he turn 101, his name, President Russell M. Wilson, equals 101, like church, and Kirk means church. And he turned 101 years old right a day before Charlie Kirk was shot in the state that he's basically from, he runs the church from. And again, Kirk means church, but remember, in Snake Eyes guy, the assassin in Snake Eyes is Tariq Rabat, which equals 101, like Orem, Utah, where Kirk was shot, and assassin. And then they held the Charlie Kirk memorial on September 21st, and that's the day with 101 days in the year. So great job by Joseph by putting all those 101s together. You also notice that Russell M. Nelson, the president of the Mormon Church, equals Thomas Sanford, the shooter today.
And Cody, really quick, with the 101s, when this news broke earlier today, the first report said that there were 10 shot, 1 dead. Right. So there's your 101, and the numbers have changed throughout the day. But
right, yeah. That was first they were reporting like what were they reporting first?
I saw 1 dead, 9 shot, which
Yeah.
ties to the 19 that we looked at, of course.
Yeah.
But
That was what I saw first, and then I did see the 10, the 101 connection, and then the last thing I had seen was the 10 and 2, which kind of like a 201 connection. But I guess you're saying that it's now like up even more because they said they were going to find more people in the fire. So I'm assuming that that's what they've done.
Yeah, last I saw was that there were 4 killed. Apparently, yeah. I don't know. I'm sure those numbers will continue to change.
Yep. And again, Joseph also points out that this shooting happened at a Mormon church 175 days after the founding date of April 6th of the church. So Mormon church 175 days after. He also pointed out that LDS church equals Freemason in all 4 ciphers. Wow. And yes, Kirk means church, and Trump equals 88, like Turning Point USA equals 88, like Mormon equals 88. And of course, Kirk was shot 88 days after Trump's birthday and 34 days before his own birthday. And the word Mormon equals 88 and 34. So I think this is the only slide that I just use this one slide. But again, make sure you guys go subscribe to Joseph Aquaviva, and make sure you subscribe to the other 2 channels with me, AJ and Ball Don't Lie and Gematrinator. There was like one more thing before we start wrapping this up. There was like one more thing I wanted to back to the 132s, because now you got me really trying to remember what it was I was measuring. There was somebody, there was 2 dates I was measuring yesterday that had a perfect 132 connection, and now I can't remember. But I just want to hit one more time on this narrative with the saints, because they really are talking, they really are symbolizing a martyrs and saints right now. That's a lot of what they're doing. Charlie Kirk is becoming a saint. Carlo Acutis became the first millennial saint right before Charlie Kirk was shot. And then the rapture thing took off, which is all about the saints, right? And look at this. When you type in Charlie Kirk and you just add the rapture, it also equals 132, like the rapture. And look at this, trumpets. And this, everyone thought the rapture was going to happen. And again, just so everyone in the chat knows it's new, I don't think the rapture is going to happen. But I'm decoding it because they're talking about they're symbolizing it in their riddles right now. They're clearly doing it. Because Trump was speaking at the UN on the birthday of the guy who wrote Left Behind, Kirk Cameron, right? So trumpets, 132. And that's when Trump was speaking at the UN on the Feast of Trumpets, which equals 132. And of course, this goes back to the Catholic Church, which in simple gematria has the 132. But I'll have to go back and find out what it was I was looking at that has that 132 connection. But anyways, I guess we'll start wrapping it up. If anyone in the chat has we'll take another couple minutes here and see if anyone in the chat has any additions. Somebody in the chat told me earlier I was missing something. So here's your chance. Here's another couple minutes for you guys to lay something in the chat if you have anything. If not, we'll start wrapping this up. And again, thank you to all 800. This stream has stayed in the 800s for almost 45 minutes now. That is, wow. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys very much. There's been a lot of activity in the chat for sure. I mean, I'll just say, Cody, thank you for having me on as always. Derek, always a pleasure to connect with you, man. I hope you're doing well with what's been going on lately. But yeah, just make sure to hit that like and subscribe on the way out. Doesn't cost a thing. We really appreciate the love and support, you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, I see some people leaving some stuff in the chat, but nothing really. Yeah, again, Slick Rick, I'm not saying the rapture is coming, but I'm saying that they're symbolizing the rapture, right? the reason I'm talking about it is not because I'm saying the rapture is coming right now or anything. I'm just saying they're symbolizing it for sure. What do you think this is all about?
There's a clear theme with Kirk. I mean, he would, when he's shot, he was said to have died instantly, which is essentially being raptured.
Right. And the Kirk Cameron thing is what gives it away, in my opinion. It gives it 100% away. Kirk Cameron is known for being in that movie about the rapture. So, and then the saint stuff that's going on, I believe, is just a continuation of that. Chat that we might want to cover. Just kind of watching here.
Someone did
point out. I'm kind of numbered out for the night myself.
Someone did point out the Kirkland brand, right? And you and I looked at that the other night, Cody, right? How many locations Kirkland was at or something like that?
Yeah, Costco has, I guess I can show that real fast. Costco, which has the Kirkland brand. Right here, they have the Kirkland brand, right? And they have 910 locations in 2025. So literally 9/10/2025 right there. There's your date of Charlie Kirk. I thought that was pretty crazy. And they were founded on the 15th, which is interesting as well, because that's essentially the day that Trump met with King Charles. Or like in that, maybe one day off, but it's pretty interesting. All right, so I think everyone's numbered out. People started filing out, and I know that I'm numbered out too, I think, just to echo what Gematria said. But to all the people that are still here, please hit the like button on the way out. We have 785, 300, only 300 likes. So if you guys did like the content and enjoyed it, please hit the like button. And yeah, I'll let Derek say his last words, and then AJ, and then we'll wrap this up.
No, just shout out to everybody who made it in, made this live stream a big deal. It looks like you're probably hitting the algorithm. So much thanks to Al Gore, by the way, for creating the internet and allowing us to share this stuff. But no, that's it for me. I mean, Gematrinator85 is my YouTube channel. The Gematrinator calculator has been my creation since 2017. The blog on my website has about 3,600 blog posts, almost 900 videos on my channel, just exploring the numerical nature of reality and the fascinating truths that it reveals about the true interconnectedness of nature and the people who inhabit it. It's truly mind-bending stuff. I mean, I essentially threw my life away so I could focus on this and post as much as I can. And yeah, as far as my house, I am moving back home this week after the devastating Milwaukee floods, which took out my basement. So a little return to normalcy for me soon. So more videos on my channel will be coming back shortly.
Glad to hear it, Derek. Yeah, I already said my piece. Thank you again, Cody. Derek, good to collab with you again as well. Looking forward to the next one. And thank you to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate all the love and support.
All right. Well, and I thank both of you for coming on with me tonight and tag teaming this. And thanks to all, one final time, thanks to all of you in the chat. Thanks to all the new subscribers, and make sure you guys go subscribe to all these other great channels, these two guys right here and Joseph Aquaviva in the chat. And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.
See you.